On March 9, 1995, a tragic event shook the television world and ignited a firestorm of controversy surrounding the ethics of daytime talk shows. Jonathan Schmitz, a 24-year-old man from Michigan, shot and killed 32-year-old Scott Amedure. This act of violence was directly linked to a taping of a popular program known for its sensationalized topics and confrontational style. The episode, which never made it to air, featured Amedure revealing a secret crush on Schmitz. This revelation, made in the context of the show's provocative format, set in motion the tragic chain of events that culminated in murder. The murder sent shockwaves through the nation, raising questions about the role of television in our lives and the responsibility producers have for the well-being of their guests. The case of murder remains a stark reminder of the potential for real-life consequences when television entertainment blurs the lines between reality and spectacle. The events of that fateful day continue to spark debate about the boundaries of free speech, the ethics of exploiting personal lives for ratings, and the long-term impact of sensationalism on individuals and society. The murder trial and its aftermath exposed the dark side of a television industry hungry for ratings. It forced a national conversation about the responsibility of shows like for the safety and well-being of their guests. The case also highlighted the need for greater sensitivity and awareness in a media landscape increasingly driven by the pursuit of sensationalism and the exploitation of personal stories. The legacy of the murder serves as a cautionary tale, reminding us of the potential for tragedy when the pursuit of entertainment trumps ethical considerations and human compassion. The episode of that would ultimately lead to tragedy was taped on March 6, 1995. The theme of the show was secret crushes, a topic designed to elicit strong emotions and potentially awkward encounters. Jonathan Schmitz was invited to the show under the pretense that someone had a crush on him. He agreed to participate, unaware of the true nature of the revelation to come. Scott Amedure, an acquaintance of Schmitz, was waiting backstage. He had revealed to the show's producers that he had a secret crush on Schmitz. The stage was set for a dramatic reveal. Amedure, visibly nervous, confessed his attraction to Schmitz. The audience erupted in laughter and applause, a typical reaction to the often uncomfortable situations orchestrated by the show. Schmitz's reaction was a mix of shock and embarrassment. He laughed uncomfortably, attempting to deflect the attention and downplay the situation. He later claimed to have been surprised and humiliated by Amedure's revelation, particularly given his own struggles with his sexuality. Following the taping, Schmitz claimed he felt humiliated by the experience. He alleged that the show's producers had misled him about the nature of the episode, leading to a situation that caused him significant distress. Schmitz's state of mind in the days following the taping, and the role the show played in shaping his mental state, became central to the legal battle that would ensue. The show's producers, however, maintained that Schmitz was aware of the show's general theme and that his participation was voluntary. 3 days after the fateful taping on March 9, 1995, tragedy struck. Jonathan Schmitz, driven by a mixture of anger and humiliation, drove to Scott Amedure's mobile home. He was armed with a 12-gauge shotgun he had purchased just days earlier. Schmitz confronted Amedure, and in a moment of rage, shot him twice in the chest. Amedure died at the scene. Following the shooting, Schmitz fled the scene, but later turned himself into the police. He confessed to the murder, claiming he had been driven to it by the humiliation he suffered on national television. The murder sent shockwaves across the nation, prompting a media frenzy and sparking a debate about the responsibility of television shows in protecting their guests. The case quickly became a lightning rod for discussions about the ethics of sensationalist television and the potential consequences of exploiting personal lives for entertainment. The death of Scott Amedure became a tragic symbol of the potential dangers of reality television and its exploitation of personal stories for profit. The incident served as a stark reminder that the pursuit of ratings and entertainment should never come at the expense of human dignity and safety. The events of March 9, 1995 cast a long shadow over the television industry, forcing a reassessment of the boundaries of acceptable content and the responsibility producers have for the well-being of their guests. The trial of Jonathan Schmitz became a media spectacle. The prosecution argued that Schmitz's actions were premeditated, highlighting his purchase of the shotgun days before the murder. They portrayed Schmitz as a man driven by rage and homophobia, seeking revenge for the perceived humiliation he suffered on. Schmitz's defense team, on the other hand, argued that he was mentally unstable and had been driven to temporary insanity by the events on the show. They claimed that had exploited Schmitz, deliberately putting him in a situation that caused him extreme emotional distress. The defense argued that the show's producers should be held accountable for their role in the events leading up to the murder. The jury ultimately found Jonathan Schmitz guilty of second-degree murder. He was sentenced to 25 to 50 years in prison. The verdict, however, did not put an end to the controversy surrounding the case. The Amedure family, believing that the show shared responsibility for Scott's death, filed a wrongful death lawsuit against its producers and its distributor, Warner Brothers. The lawsuit claimed that the show had acted negligently by failing to protect Schmitz from foreseeable harm. Section 5. The Amedure family's lawsuit. The wrongful death lawsuit filed by the Amedure family against was, a landmark case. It was one of the first to test the limits of a television show's responsibility for the actions of its guests. The Amedure family argued that the show had acted negligently by creating a volatile situation without providing adequate security or psychological aftercare for its participants. They claimed that the show's producers should have foreseen the potential for violence, given the nature of the episode's topic and the deliberate humiliation Schmitz experienced. The defense team argued that was protected by the First Amendment, and that the show's producers could not be held liable for the actions of an individual who chose to commit a crime. They maintained that Schmitz's actions were solely his responsibility, and that the show was merely a platform for his own personal choices. In a stunning turn of events, the jury sided with the Amedure family. They awarded the family $25 million in damages, holding responsible for the wrongful death of Scott Amedure. The verdict sent shockwaves through the television industry and beyond, raising serious questions about the limits of free speech and the responsibility of media producers in the face of potential harm. Section 6. Ethics and sensationalism, a line crossed? The murder sparked a national debate about the ethics of daytime talk shows and the role of sensationalism in media. Critics argued that the show's producers had crossed a line, prioritizing ratings and entertainment value over the well-being of their guests. They pointed to the show's history of exploiting personal conflicts and sensitive topics, often with little regard for the potential consequences. Prominent legal scholar Alan Dershowitz, while defending the show's First Amendment rights, criticized the producers for their role in creating a volatile situation. He argued that the producers had a moral, if not legal, obligation to consider the potential for harm when crafting their show's content. The case highlighted a growing concern that the pursuit of ever-increasing ratings was leading to a race to the bottom in television, with shows becoming increasingly exploitative and irresponsible in their content. The Amedure family's successful lawsuit, while later overturned on appeal, sent a powerful message to the television industry. It demonstrated that producers could be held accountable for the foreseeable consequences of their actions, even when those actions involved the criminal behavior of a guest. The case forced a reckoning within the world of daytime talk shows, prompting some shows to reevaluate their content and approach in the wake of the tragedy. Section 7. The Aftermath, a television industry reckons. The murder of Scott Amedure and the subsequent lawsuit had a profound impact on the television industry. The case forced a re-evaluation of the ethics of daytime talk shows, leading to a shift away from the most extreme forms of confrontation and exploitation. Some shows implemented stricter screening processes for guests, while others adopted a more sensitive approach to handling sensitive topics. The tragedy also spurred a broader conversation about the role of media in society. Critics argued that the pursuit of ratings and sensationalism had gone too far, contributing to a culture of voyeurism and exploitation. They called for a more responsible approach to media production, one that prioritized ethical considerations and the well-being of individuals over the pursuit of profit. While the most extreme forms of confrontational talk shows declined in popularity, the legacy of murder continued to cast a shadow over the industry. It served as a stark reminder of the potential consequences of irresponsible programming and the need for greater sensitivity in a media landscape saturated with personal stories and emotional appeals. Section 8. The Legacy of Murder. The legacy of murder continues to resonate today. The case remains a touchstone for discussions about media ethics, the limits of free speech, and the responsibility of content creators in the digital age. The rise of reality television and social media has only amplified these concerns, as the lines between public and private life become increasingly blurred. The case also serves as a reminder of the power of television and the media to shape public perception and influence behavior. The events of 1995 highlighted the need for greater media literacy and critical thinking skills, enabling viewers to engage with media content in a more informed and discerning way. The murder of Scott Amedure was a tragedy that exposed the dark side of the entertainment industry. It forced a long overdue conversation about the responsibility that comes with the power of television, and the importance of prioritizing ethical considerations over the pursuit of ratings. Section 9, Conclusion, a cautionary tale. The murder of Scott Amedure following his appearance on stands as a stark reminder of the potential consequences of exploiting personal lives for entertainment. The tragedy exposed the dangers of sensationalism and the responsibility media producers have for the well-being of their guests. The case serves as a cautionary tale, urging us to critically examine the media we consume and the ethical implications of our entertainment choices. It reminds us that behind the screens and the carefully crafted narratives are real people with real lives, and that the pursuit of ratings should never come at the expense of human dignity and safety. The legacy of murder is a somber one, but it also offers an opportunity for reflection and growth. By learning from the mistakes of the past, we can strive to create a media landscape that is both entertaining and responsible, one that celebrates our shared humanity rather than exploiting it for profit.